Hey guys, Jaydon and Rylee, Tweak Talk, episode number 14. Welcome. Thank you very much for those of you that have subscribed, and perhaps those new subscribers. I haven't checked. I think we're at 15 still. Maybe we're a couple more. Perhaps if you're watching this and you've not yet subscribed, you'll be our next subscriber. There's a subscribe button just below here. Is that how it works?
Yeah, and I think YouTube's changed their structuring of late too. So if you want an actual notification that we've uploaded a video, you'll have to click on like a little notification thing as well.
Okay, cool.
So maybe just like have a play with that.
Cool. Yeah, 100%.
I'm not really familiar with it.
If you could subscribe below, that would be awesome. If you do click the notifications and turn the notifications on, as soon as this comes out, you will be informed. You usually get this about a day ahead of the sort of release to social media, which is cool. Yeah. Look, today what we wanted to do, guys, is talk about structured training versus going it alone. Yeah. And I can appreciate that since we're trainers with a gym, you might think that structured training is what we're going to push, but you might be surprised. So I think there's a couple of things that we need to do is to just break down what structured training is, just to give you a bit of context around that. Mm-hmm. So what would you say structured training is? Like, what would you consider structured training?
So things like personal training, fitness classes, training programs,
basically anything where
any sort of
you've been given advice by a professional. Hey?
Yeah. Whether it's in real time like a class, or you've got a plan to follow. So
so basically anything, guys, where you've been given advice by a professional, you're working with a professional, you're attending a class or a group or a training session in some sort of structured format. Obviously going it alone is when you're the head coach, you're the trainer, you're the professional, you're following a plan that you've made in order to improve your health or specific skill, whatever the case may be. So now that we've sort of got to perhaps what is structured training in its sort of most basic form, and I think maybe now we can sort of break it down a little bit and sort of walk through it. So I think in terms of training, if you're new to anything, I would 100% recommend that you start with some form of structured training.
Definitely.
I think it's the simplest way to go about it. It's the smartest way to go about it. Now, don't just... So we're coming, obviously, to you from a gym and a fitness background, but if you want to get into swimming, I would encourage you to get a swimming coach to get started. If you want to get into running, distance running or cycling, I would encourage you to join a group or a club where you can get some feedback and instruction around that.
100%.
I think there's a couple of things that you need to know. So initially, you need to learn the fundamentals. You need to learn the techniques. You need to know what a squat is, or you need to know how to properly set up your bike if you're going to be a cyclist, whatever the case may be. You need to understand the core fundamentals so then you can create a plan for yourself going forward. You can also identify the perhaps limitations that you have in order to make sure that you're as safe as you can be.
And I think there's a real safety aspect too with that. Mm-hmm. So, good technique equals safety. You're preventing yourself from injury. There's a lot of equipment just in a gym, so to speak. There's a lot of equipment in there. And if you don't know how to use it properly, things can go horribly, horribly wrong. So all our members, when you join the gym, they will get a free induction. And we teach you guys exactly how to use each piece of machinery. But I think it's so important to at least know how things work.
I think that's super common. Hey, you hear about people getting started in the gym or with a sport or whatever it is, and they do their first session and they just like kill themselves. They can't move for 4 or 5 days. So there's 4 or 5 days without exercise or without the particular skill.
And it gives I think also obviously you don't want to come back after that. But also too, it just gives you a peace of mind and a little bit of sort of comfort in that you know what you're doing.
Yep.
I know when I first stepped foot in the gym, I shit myself because, like, you know, it was really overwhelming. There was so much there, and
Yep.
it was a really overwhelming feeling. So knowing what you're doing, I think you can sort of take out the overwhelm and
Yep.
focus on what you're doing and enjoy it more rather than worrying about what's going on around you and all
I
that
think it just
jazz.
makes it harder than it actually has to be. You know, like
Yeah,
if you
it
were
just
to
adds a layer of unnecessary.
difficulty or
Yeah.
anxiety or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Hey, so if you were to spend a couple of bucks to get a personal trainer initially when you were to join the gym, for the sole purpose of understanding what the gym equipment is
Yeah.
and understanding what you do if the 10 pieces of gym equipment you know are used, like how often do you see that? Hey, it's like
Yeah.
I'm confident with 5 or 10 pieces of gym equipment
And they're all taken.
and they're all taken.
Mm.
Now I've got nothing.
Yeah.
It's like that's a really cool tool. If you
Yeah.
can work with someone to insure against that, you build out a really comprehensive set of exercises. So you know, all right, if this and this and this and this is being used, I can do this or this or this or that.
Instead of leaving.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And you also, I think, when you do that or you take that approach, you avoid setbacks like wiping yourself out, being so sore you can't attend the gym for 3 or 4, whatever the session is. You can't attend for 3 or 4 or 5 days because you're so sore, and then you're like starting all over again. When you're enthusiastic and you want to get started in something, you want to try and do it on a regular basis so you can ingrain and build that routine really quickly. And if you go into your first session, training session, coaching session, whatever it is, wipe yourself out and you can't get back for 5 days, it's like your routine is you haven't even started. You haven't even started. So I think that's a crucial part.
You know, like obviously having not done that before, you expect to come out on the other side feeling amazing and you're in there the next day, and that doesn't happen, and it's like a huge letdown. And then you start beating yourself up about that. So, and it's really not your fault, it's not anyone's fault, it's just something that,
But that can be the experience. So you can start at the gym today and train for the next 5 days in the gym. If you do it with some structure, if you've got an idea behind it and a plan behind it, you certainly can do that. So go from not training in the gym to training in the gym 5 days a week if that's what you so desire. You 100% can do that. You can do it safely. And you can do it in a way where you don't wake up in the morning and all you can move is your eyeballs. I think that's really important. I think in terms of structured training, there is an investment element. And I will call it an investment element because that's what I think it is. I don't think it's a cost. I don't think it's a spending. I think it's an investment in you to understand and form a basis that you're going to be able to build from. And I think the primary thing for me is to be safe. Particularly if you're coming to... as we sit here, I think it's 63% of Australians are overweight or obese. So if you're watching this, there's a chance that you're overweight or obese. And if you're coming from a position where you're currently of not the greatest health, I think you want to really prioritise your ability to stay as healthy as you can, stay as able and as active as you possibly can, and avoid injury at all costs. So the small amount that you need to invest initially, I think, is well and truly paid off in spades long term because you understand the safety element, you understand how to ease into the program safely, and how to progress safely as well, which I think is really important.
Oh, it's everything.
Cool. Okay, so that's, I suppose, our 2 cents on structured programming. I think going it alone, I think it can work. And you hear these stories all the time, like I was never active, and then I just started walking, and then I started jogging, and then I started doing X, Y, Z, whatever it is. So I think it can
Well, that's
work.
how everything starts. That's how everything starts, is with you and you only. So, you know, going at it alone is, you have to do that first before you can do anything.
I think there's a couple of things just to understand about going it alone, and I think there's some keys that we sort of need to be aware of. I think when you go it alone, not only do you have to rely on your own discipline, you also have to become the coach, so you're the session planner. You also have to be the coach in terms of monitoring your safety, and you also have to be the coach in managing the accountability, so making sure that you're accountable for not turning up to that session or choosing or making bad choices that aren't serving the goal, or you're holding yourself accountable for whatever it is. And then you also need to make sure that outside of training or outside of the event is still balanced as well, which is what the role of a coach would be. So when you go it alone, you do take on a number of different hats. And I think that's wherein the difficulty can lie, because any one of those things by themselves is a chore. No, not a chore, is a job.
Yeah, it's not a job, it's just it's an important role, I would say.
Yeah, a role.
But also too, what was I going to say? It's just like literally gone.
Go on.
I'm in the middle of uni assessment, so my brain is like extremely full.
Talking about going it alone. And,
no, I had something in my head about that. It'll come to me.
So I think that's something to understand. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you're thinking about getting started and going it alone, I think it's really important to put in place a process. So you're going to commit to something per week, 1 session, 2 sessions, 3 sessions per week. There's some basic things that I would do as part of that. So I would record what it is that I'm doing. So, I might commit to walking Monday, Wednesday and Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock for 20 minutes. That's my first job. So I've got a plan in place straight up. I know how long I'm going to walk for. I know what's required. And then you look to build from there. Keep it super, super, super simple. And then you look to sort of form a basis and expand on that from there. Don't try and make it too complex. If you're trying to learn a new skill, I'm not sure the advice that I would give you there, other than get someone to help coach you. Like if you're going to go out and buy a bike, a road bike, you're going to start cycling, you're going to use cleats, the shoes that lock your feet into the pedals. I'd probably get some advice around that. Like, that's not an area of my expertise. So when I started cycling, I went to someone and said, hey, how do I set the bike up?
Yeah.
Well, what should I do with my shoes? Like, how does that work? What gear do I need? Because that was not an area that I knew about.
Yeah.
So if you're going to go into something that's specific, if you're going to go into swimming, Riley's big on swimming, she swims regularly now. I'm not the one to see about that, and I don't know how to go about recommending that you start swimming with any sort of background.
I think too, like, you really build up a perception about things that you might actually really like, but you think in your head that you don't like.
Yeah.
Like you with swimming.
Yeah.
My swimming session, it's a full body resistance session when I go for a swim. So I'll be doing like 300 meter swim and then a 200 meter kick. And I do that 3 times through, so,
Sounds like a friggin' nightmare.
Yeah, but like the time goes really quickly. It's all segmented. So you get that 300 meter swim over, then you've got 200 meters. Like, it's, in my brain, it's really good. I work my upper body and I smash my legs on that kick. So, swimming with my head down, watching that black line for the whole 40 minutes, that's not going to cut it for me. That's boring.
Yep.
So, implementing things like fins and kickboards and pull buoys and, all that sort of stuff that you're probably not really confident in, just sort of entering into the swimming scene.
Yep.
But those things really do spice it up and give you a full body workout.
Yep.
So, and they work with both, in a way with both cardio and resistance. So,
and you learn that from coaching, from instruction?
Yes, from squad training.
Yep.
Yeah. So, and I've enjoyed it my whole life. So, but I can see how that would look really stupid and quite not enjoyable for other people.
Yeah, the biggest thing is the overwhelm, and just getting past the overwhelm into something that you can take action on and work on for yourself. So I think if you're out there and you're starting out, what I would do is get started with someone that can help you refine the process, make you as safe as you can, and give you a better understanding for it. You don't have to be joining or a part of a structured training program forever. In fact, you may not want to be, you may not need to be. The thing is about getting your, I suppose, bearings and understanding what it is that you're actually doing. So, for example, if you wanted to start out in getting fitter and stronger, perhaps you'd employ a personal trainer. You might start doing 3 sessions a week for a month. Yeah, start to do 3 sessions a week for a month, so you understand and you're starting to learn about what's going on in the gym.
Yeah.
And then you might cut back to doing 1 session a week for a month, and the training program, so you know, all right, this day I'm going to train with my trainer. These 2 days or 3 days I'm going to do this training program. So it's still all structured. You don't have to do the thinking. You turn up and this is the plan.
Yeah.
You know, the 3rd month you might want to go only on your training program, because it's allowing you to be independent. It's allowing you, now you've got 8 weeks under your belt. You understand what it means if you lift a little too much weight, or you understand what happens if the 3 machines you're planning to use today are all being used. You understand that. And you can progress from there.
Yeah.
And you know, like 6 months in, you might want to do a training program. You might really be enjoying your program or your training, and you might want to have got programming for yourself. You might have learnt enough. You might have spoken to some people.
Yeah, which is where you sort of end up.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you learn all these things and learn different techniques and styles of training, and you really sort of get to a place where you know the things that you really, really love, you know the things that you really have to work on that you might not love so much. So you can sort of really build a well-rounded little regime for you.
Yep.
And
you have to have that background knowledge first.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. And you have to be willing to, like, you know, I'm a real introvert, so I think this stuff really does sort of depend on your personality as well. You know, a lot of people are really introverted and would rather just learn themselves. And I think to do that, you really need to do a lot of research, and you really need to sort of take initiative in learning about all these things. So, you know, I don't really like referring people to looking things up on Google, but like reputable, you know, sites and YouTube videos, and really sort of honing in on how you can improve your technique. But nothing comes close to having someone there in real time correcting your technique and showing you how things are done properly. But
I think by the same token, even if you are introverted, the idea of getting someone in that can help you can take, so it can go both ways. I think it can really be overwhelming, or it can also
100%.
take the burden away completely.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm really new to this. I don't know anything about cycling. Can you show me what it is that I need to do to be able to cycle safely and do it for a long time?
100%.
So I think there's
sort of
both angles.
Trying to look at different angles.
Awesome. So look, if you're out there, guys, and you're not sure about getting started in whatever it is that you're looking to do, what I would recommend that you start with is just by reaching out to the organisations, the people that actually do those things, and say, hey, how is it that we should get started? We often speak to people that are in that position, and they say, what can I do to get started? What might suit me? We walk them through what it is that we offer and try and find out a little bit about what they're doing. Sometimes the best recommendation for us, from us, is not to come to the gym initially. Some people aren't ready to do that, so they need to start moving. And we even coach people outside of the gym. So it's like, okay, today, this week we are going to coach you on doing those sessions and eating this food, and you're outside of the gym. You're not quite ready to be in the gym yet. You're not quite ready to be in that
I've had
fitness
plenty
environment.
of clients that I've only ever coached in our group fitness room,
Yep.
where there's like limited equipment,
Yep.
Lots of body weight stuff,
Yep.
just to really, sort of introduce them properly into exercise,
Yep.
and not too much overwhelm going on. So, there's a will and a way to suit everyone's
100% there is a solution for
journey
everyone.
point.
Yep.
Yeah. Same goes with nutrition too. You know, like I've had a few things this week that I've sort of, you know, people are, you know, going at it themselves and saying, oh, this is what I have for breakfast and blah blah blah, and it's like, oh, there's no source of protein in that. Did you know that?
Yeah.
And they'll say, oh, but you know, for instance, someone said, oh, I do a fruit juice, like I do freshly squeezed juice for breakfast, and I get the protein out of the vegetables.
Yep.
But you know, the education, yes, there is protein in vegetables, but they're not a complete source of protein, so they don't provide you with enough amino acids for you to get enough protein, so to speak. So, you know, a good simple fix to that would be adding in some collagen powder maybe, just to boost that protein absorption and really, you know, get those complete amino acids in. So that could completely change your body composition in a matter of weeks, you know. So
and just one small one small additive to that actual thing, which you wouldn't even taste the collagen powder at all. And it's just one piece of information that you may just have been missing.
Yeah.
The exact same thing goes for training. Hey, why don't you try this? Or change the order of your exercises to help you achieve the result that you're after. And that's the benefit that you get.
Yeah, I've had plenty of clients who have to, you know, steering clear of certain exercises.
Yep.
You know, certain core exercises that you need for a good, healthy, strong physique.
Yep.
Because it hurts or it feels uncomfortable or, you know, it just doesn't feel right. And, you know, they might have had an injury and they're trying to favour that injury and work around it. But there are ways, you know, adding in steps, changing the positioning of your feet or your hands, or, you know, it all really makes a huge difference in order for you to really enjoy what you're doing. So
100%. So find out a little bit more about what it is that you're trying to do by asking a professional, guys. At least ask the questions so you can make an informed decision as to what's going to be the most beneficial for you, and then progress from there is what I would recommend. If you need any assistance in regards to health and fitness, training, nutrition, those types of things, we're here to help. We can do that. Yeah, we can do that for you physically if you're here in Tully, or we certainly can do that through online coaching. We've got a number of clients now that we're doing that for, and it's working really well. So we'll whack a link just below here so you can get in touch with us if that's what you'd like to do. But for now, guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Again, if you'd like to subscribe, please do. We'd love to have you with us here on a weekly basis. By subscribing, you'll get notification, or you might need to click notifications on so you get notified before the public gets the, I suppose, social media advert that this program will be out, and you'll be able to see it before anyone else. You won't miss an episode that way. That's it.
That's it.
Cool.
See you next week.
Have a fantastic afternoon, guys. Well, it might not be afternoon, hey. Have a fantastic day, evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever it is that you are, and we look forward to seeing you again at Tweak Talk in the next episode. Take care.
Bye.
Bye, guys.